Welcome back, guys. You might have heard that Star Wars Rogue One was filmed in VR. Well, if you didn't read past any of the headlines, it wasn't filmed with VR, so it's not like they were running around in VR or anything like that. But what they did do is they were able to set up a device with a controller tracked onto it where they could look into VR. So it's kind of like mixed reality, basically. So this segment, I kind of want to touch on that. I want to touch on VR filmmaking, and I also want to connect over to Prometheus TV, which has been doing some awesome mixed reality, which this kind of ties into. We're going to kind of tie into a mixed reality thing here as well. But first, we're going to start with Star Wars. Alright, so if you didn't bother to read any of the stories, as I said, they were basically taking the Vive controller, hooking it up, and being able to go inside of a VR world, then set up the shots. So how this works is, if you see right there's the Star Destroyer. What he was seeing on his tablet was the Star Destroyer set up by the Death Star. He was able to pan this thing around and show the animators how he wanted the shots to look. So he's able to look at X-Wings that are flying by and a pre-rendered animation, and he could then show the animators that he wants the camera to do a slow pan across and down. So they're not filming it in VR, but what they are doing is basically doing the storyboards. If you're not familiar with how movies are made, all your favorite movies are basically drawn into a very basic comic book. It looks like a comic book before they make the movie. And that's how they set up shots, different angles and stuff. There's more to it than that. But this is kind of tying into it. And it's a way of connecting VR into movies that I didn't even think about yet. And if you've heard me talk anytime recently, I'm very into movies and seeing those two connect at some point. So I find it awesome that in the future, people are going to be able to take basically a mixed reality camera and then set up a battlefield and then scope around the battle as it's going down and get these awesome different shots that would have taken just more creative process. They can actually see it in a rough draft. That's just so awesome to me. And that is definitely going to change filmmaking. There's going to be probably VR filmmaking done in all the big budget films if that's how they're doing it. So that's beyond impressive. I was just totally astounded. You can also watch the video in detail in the comments below and in the description if you want to know more about what they did. But wow, the technology is awesome. And this is also why I wanted to start talking about Prometheus TV as well as mixed reality. If you haven't checked out Prometheus TV, go ahead and check him out in the comments below, and I'm going to put a link to his channel at the end of the video. Reason why I wanted to bring him up and connect him to the video is because he's been doing some really cool stuff with mixed reality. He recently did a climbing video that you can see going on in the screenshots here. Really good job. And that basically is, again, we're going to connect to the Star Wars thing with this. But I wanted to give him some props because this is really hard to do. This took me 23 hours to learn how to set up, and then I ended up just deciding not to do it anymore because it was just super time consuming. So I got to give the guy respect. Very good job of setting it up. The alignment he's got, if you see, he's got the helmet and backpack, everything is really good. And I would love to see him do more videos like that. I would even love to see him be a little bit longer because they're just a kick to watch. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk about mixed reality is not only to prop Prometheus TV, again, check him out if you haven't already, description, comments, and at the end of the video, is that I think this type of filming for games is going to be pretty much critical in the next year or two. If you want to film VR stuff, this is definitely going to be the way that you're going to want to do it. What I hope to see change, though, about it is the camera angle, for example. Now, there's different ways that you can record this. I don't know what Prometheus is doing, but you can get software that emulates a third controller. So you get the piece of software, you put it on your computer, it emulates a third controller, and so you spend a bunch of time going back and forth from the game to the program, lining it up. And you're trying to get, your hand to match up with this hand. It's just really a difficult process. And also what you're seeing here, a little side information, it's actually 4 different images layered over the top of each other. And if you're doing this the right way, you're doing it all at once. You're not doing any post-processing. I know some people have seen Tribal's video, did a really great job, but in my opinion, post-processing, no, not for mixed reality. You can film all of it at once at the same time. You don't need to do that. So Prometheus has been doing an amazing job with that, as I said. And what I was talking about was the camera in the fixed position. That's one of my big problems with mixed reality, is that you spend so much time setting up that angle. And I told you about the piece of software that you could use to emulate the third controller. What makes mixed reality even easier is if you just get a third controller and a camera, and you can then move around in real time, and you don't have to line it up. It looks even better. So anybody wanting to get in mixed reality, I would definitely look into getting one of the upcoming Vive trackers and looking at getting some type of camera to do that. Also, you might also want to hold off on the camera, because at some point, and this is where I wanted to connect to the Star Wars thing, we have seen at, this last year's CES, some type of device that you're going to be able to take a tracker, and you're going to be able to look into that VR world and record it. Now, why I think that's so amazing is this dude's doing a lot of work. People that are doing mixed reality, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of trial and error, a lot of sitting there for 10, 20 minutes at a time doing the same thing over and over, not realizing why it's not working. Again, I spent 23 hours getting this set up. You've got a lot of stuff going on. It's very processor intensive. Being able to buy a device and record that from like a phone or a tablet or something, separate from the computer, is amazing to me. The alignment, everything is going to be so great. His videos will be able to look 10 times better, because now he'll be able to hand that device to his girlfriend and she'll be able to record him in real time. Now, that's what I was trying to say about the camera angles. The videos that I did was Job Simulator. Really easy once you get the camera set up. It's a fixed position, nothing moves, there's not stuff coming at you from multiple angles. But when stuff starts coming at you in mixed reality and you can't focus on that attention, it just doesn't look as good. Hoopermation did a really, really good job with mixed reality, and then all of a sudden he just stopped making videos. And if you look at his Hover Junker video, which I'll also link in the comments down below and in the description as well, he did a banner job. But for me as the viewer, the problem was like, you would see him in the mixed reality environment, but he'd be firing at something off the screen. And I would totally want to be like, dude, let me see what's behind you, and watch this action. And so if we could get some AI maybe in games that was a little bit smarter. So for example, as he goes around this corner, you're still going to be looking at the wall and watching him, as opposed to a nice long view of him going straight down the hallway. So what would be cool is if the cameras were intelligent enough as well to maybe pan around while you're in a mixed reality environment, so you don't have to have a second person filming you, which is what's going to make mixed reality the best. If you've seen a lot of the best mixed reality videos, the ones for advertisements and stuff like that, I think Racket NX was moving around, Blue Effect, but Job Sim, it's just super cool when you see a person in mixed reality. But then, if you really, really want to make this pop, if you want to do a better job than anyone else, I mean, I literally, you got to get that second camera, I got to get that camera and that controller and get them to move around. It just creates an effect that is just amazing. Just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about mixed reality, my thoughts on it, and especially promoting some other YouTubers. So again, guys, thanks for taking the time to watch these videos. If you have any topics or anything at all that you'd love to see discussed, let me know in the comments below. And let me know what your favorite mixed reality video is. I've seen a number of them. Prometheus actually is my favorite right now, just because he does a really good job of the alignment and the clarity and everything. So, yeah, thanks for taking the time to watch, you guys. I'll see you again.